I'm Erin Lee Kaufman of Hey Mind Meet Body, and today I'm going to talk about making sense of the sensations of your body. And I get this question a lot when I talk about the work that I do. People are like, okay, so of course I want to connect my mind and my body. I want to, be aligned. I want to have my intuition be really strong. I want to trust that my body is telling me the truth. But I don't know how. How can I connect with my body, and how is that going to help me? How is making sense of what my body is saying going to help me make sense of my life and how to move in my life? So, the first thing that I want to start out with in this video is talking about sensation. And one of the core principles of the work that I do is that our body speaks to us through sensation. Sensation is the language of the body. So now that you know this, okay, well, sensation is the language of the body. You can start to tune into your sensations a little bit more and see, like, oh, I wonder, I just got a tingle or a prick or some tightness or some resistance or pulling or achiness. And you can start to think of that as your body's language. That's how your body's trying to communicate with you. Now, the problem with this is that so many of us are not taught to listen to our body in that way. It's like we're taught to numb and tough it out and suck it up. And that really keeps us from experiencing sensation in our body in a way that can give us information. So I want to give you an example of what this looks like in real life and how it works to connect with your body and make sense of sensations. So with one of my clients, I was at their foot and we were just doing this gentle invitation of movement at the foot. And I asked, what do you notice here at your foot? And that's how we start. We just say, what do you notice? What's your awareness of the sensation right now? And for this particular client, they said tightness. And I'm sure all of you are familiar with that feeling of tightness. Well, there's different types of tightnesses, right? There's the type of tightness where you're pulling something, it's very tight, or you can compress something as well to get a tight feeling. And so I'm curious about this, and I said, tell me more about the tightness. What are some other adjectives that you would use to describe the sensation of tightness? And for this particular client, it was that pulling sensation. And it was pulling like an elastic band that was being stretched too far. And this client was nervous that it would snap if it was stretched any further. And so I asked them to describe the rubber band a little bit more. What was the rubber band connected to, if anything? And it turns out that it was connected to these two poles. And these two poles were pulled very far apart and stretching this rubber band to the point that it was upsetting and concerning that this rubber band was about to snap potentially. And, throughout the process of the session, we came to the understanding that for this client, what the situation needed was for those poles to be moved a little bit closer so that the rubber band could just have a little breather. And that was something that she could do with her mind, her imagination, was just ease those poles a little closer and release some of the tension and the tightness in those rubber bands. So the message that came out of this moving those poles a little closer and releasing some of that tension, giving that rubber band a break, the message in that for this client was that they had control over this scenario where there was that tightness and that tension, and that they could move in that scenario, however it was playing out in their life, however that showed up in their life, that they could create movement there and they could create a sense of relief, and they had the ability to take a break, and that felt good to them. So of course that was the message for this particular client in that session, but every session is different and every body is different as well. I just wanted to kind of give you an example of how sensation can show up in our body and hold meaning for us that can then give us a little takeaway message that we can use in our life to just kind of make things easier for us. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to know more about having a conversation with your body and what it's trying to tell you, then come find me over at heymindmeetbody.com.